Hey Nippers, it's me, Wild Neptune. Today, I want to give my final results on both Takina and Chisato from the Licorice Recoil collab. Let's go. Alright, so I want to get this video out just in case anybody has not pulled on Chisato or Takina, or maybe pulled on one of them and want to decide whether they want to kill the other one or not. I think it's pretty well known now that the 3.5 is coming fairly soon, so a lot of people are saving their resources and really deciding if they want to pull units or not. And I think these two are particularly important in case because they are collab units, and collab units that are likely never going to return to the game again. Yes, I know we're looking at ones that have returned already, like the reran Ava, well not reran, right, but they reran the banners with Ava 2.0, and yes, they did rerun the Nier collab, even though, the creators of the two games are pretty close friends, so that's not really going to be that surprising, I don't think. But these two here, Takina and Chisato, I don't think are coming back. So once they're gone, they're probably gone for good. So that being said, let's look at both units. Starting with Chisato, because she is the one that came out first. And like I said in my videos about her, she's mainly going to be used in solo raids that are Iron weak. In the less solo raid, which is Iron weak, and also had very high defense, her true damage kit, I think, very shined quite a bit there. That was like one of her best case scenarios. Now, her overall damage, I think, in Ivory content is a little bit lower than Raven's, and Raven is considered to be, at least right now, one of the premier Iron DPSs in the game. So that's not that bad, right? Now, the thing is that we might only have one other Iron Week solo raid this entire year. Probably have about two or something like that, but, there is a chance there's only one of them. We don't know yet. And, only use it maybe one more time for the whole year, that wouldn't be good. But I think when you get a solo raid only character, I think you kind of know that's what you're getting, that you may use it a couple of times for the content to try to push for that percentage, and after that, you just kind of go into like your little collection box and just kind of sit there. So if you're not really into that type of collection and stuff like that, then maybe Chisato's a skip. She has not proven to be that good in story mode, even for compositions that need true damage, because a lot of other units that do true damage have just been better in story, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here. However, maybe in an Iron Week like high deficit mode, or in store, or in tower, maybe she'll be pretty good there, right? Like, probably will be pretty good. The difference is that in solo raid you have 5 teams, and in story mode and in tower you have 1 team. So there's a lot more competition for her in those modes than there is in maybe filling one of those 15-ish slots for DPS in your solo raid content. But anyway, overall, I do think Chisato is a decent unit. Not amazing, but decent. Definitely somebody that is pullable, but probably not necessary to get. But again, she's a collab unit, and that does raise her pullability rate up quite a bit. So now we have Takina, and I think people have now viewed Takina, at least the more hardcore or players that have played for a while, bordering on a must pull. I'm not saying must pull exactly, but she has proven to be pretty good, and because she buffs something called true damage. Now, true damage, if you don't know, is very good for clearing at high deficit. In the game, when you see your recommended power for a stage, and then your own power, you actually get a stat penalty based on how big the deficit is in percentage. So, true damage helps you overcome this quite a bit, actually, and helps you clear at very, very high deficits overall. If you're unaware, I myself consider high deficit to start at about 30%. Some people say 35, right? But I think 30% is a pretty good baseline in when a stage really starts to get a little more difficult than maybe some people are willing to really push for. But if you are one of those people who want to push and challenge yourself to clear stages in story or in tower at those deficits, then Takina is a very good buffer for those true damage comps. Another thing too you want to consider too is that true damage comps are a lot weaker if you don't have access to something like Ada Wong from the Resident Evil collab, and this is because she's one of the best true damage dealers and buffers in the entire game. So you don't have her, and again, she's a call-up unit that likely is not going to come back. Then also Takina's kit suffers a bit too. Now, in addition to this also though, there's a chance though that they just make more true damage characters. Right now, almost all true damage characters are in the iron and electric elements, so maybe they'll make more. So, and because she's a support unit that doesn't have to burst to actually give the buffs, she can end up being a pretty good like plug and play unit for some true damage comps. So very strong in story mode and in tower in pushing those high deficit clears. Again, if you don't do this, her value there will plummet quite a bit, but there is an option for her. As far as solo raid goes and other content like that, you're not always going to bring a true damage team to raid. Now, sometimes if a raid is just weak to an element like electric or iron that has a lot of true damage units, then yeah, right, you'll just bring them just because they are good units and probably better than the alternatives. In that case, Takina there will still be pretty good. So with two elements, right, for both iron and an electric, she could be used in two different element team solo raids. And if more units of different elements are made into true damage units, then she can be used even more solo raids. And because of this, she has a lot of potential longevity in a lot of different areas in the game, which is why she has been considered to be the more stable unit to pull if you kind of want to quote-unquote future-proof your units. Now, like any gacha game, eventually she will be powercraft, probably. How long this is going to take, I don't know. It's like, it took a unit like Litter, like years to be powercraft. Same thing with someone like Crown, who is, like, Crown's not powercraft or anything, right? But, Crown is the best unit in the game since she came out and still is to this day. So, I don't know, like, it could be years before we get another unit like Takina, which is why I do think if you look at one of the units, it should be Takina. Alright, so, that's going to be it for now. Chisato, a unit that if you're interested in solo raid and really want to get the most out of your score, probably somebody you want to get, again, call up unit. Takina, somebody's going to be much more longevity probably overall, because she's a buffer and she does buff something that's going to help a lot of players throughout the entire game. But just for a little bonus, to finish this off, I'm going to do one tempo on EH just to see. And so I don't recommend doing this, right? But I have a lot of currency here, and just to see what I get right here. So here we go, and oh, okay. Well, rewarded for bad decisions, maybe. So let's just see here what we have. But only one. But she's Elysion, right? So if it's Elysion here, good chance we got it. Okay, never mind. It's an off banner, and it is Coco, which is fine. Okay. Well, you know what? Not the worst overall. Again, not really what we wanted, but there is that. I don't think we're gonna be pulling on her anymore, so I will just wishlist her. But yeah, there we are. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, comment below. Also, a subscription would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, I Neptune. It's been a good one. Till next time.